Breaking news right now, a winter storm so massive it could shut down 15 states from Texas to New York. Are you in the danger zone? Stay with me because what I am about to show you in the next 30 seconds will determine whether you are prepared or caught off guard. Right now, at this very moment, weather models are showing something meteorologists rarely see. An 80 to 90% chance of significant winter weather across a 1,000-mile stretch of America. That is not a typo. 80 to 90%. When was the last time you saw weather forecasters this certain about a storm 5 days out? I have been tracking weather systems for over a decade, and I can count on one hand the number of times I have seen this level of model agreement this far in advance. Here is your reward for staying with me. By the end of this analysis, you will know exactly which cities face the highest risk when the storm arrives hour by hour, and the 3 critical supplies you need to grab today before they sell out. But first, let me show you something that will make your jaw drop. 4,000 miles. That is how far away the energy fueling this storm is right now, spinning over the Pacific Ocean. Yet every single major weather model, the European, the American GFS, the Canadian, they all agree on one thing. This system is coming, and it is bringing Arctic air so cold it could break records that have stood for decades. Let me paint you a picture of what is brewing. Imagine taking the coldest air mass from the Canadian Arctic, air so frigid it is literally among the coldest on planet Earth right now, and slamming it into moisture streaming up from the Gulf of Mexico. That collision, that is what creates historic winter storms. And folks, that collision is set to happen this Friday. The numbers are staggering. High pressure building to 1,049 millibars. For context, anything above 1,040 millibars is considered extreme. Some computer models are even showing 1,050 plus millibars. That would shatter records. This is not your typical winter system. This is a meteorological beast. Now, I know what you are thinking. Where exactly will this hit? That is the question everyone wants answered, and I promise you, we will get there. But understanding how this storm develops is crucial because it tells us why this is different from every other winter weather event you have seen this year. The setup is what meteorologists call a perfect storm scenario. Not Hollywood perfect, but textbook perfect for maximum winter impact. Here is how it unfolds. By Thursday morning, Arctic air begins pouring south out of Canada. We are talking temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below normal. At the same time, a low-pressure system forms near the California coast, what we call a Baja low. This system taps into Pacific moisture and rides east along the southern jet stream. When these two ingredients meet, usually somewhere over the south-central United States, that is when the magic, or should I say mayhem, happens. Cold air damming sets up along the Appalachian Mountains. Warm, moist air tries to push north but gets blocked by the wall of Arctic air. The result? Freezing rain. Lots of it. And that is where this storm could become truly dangerous. Let me show you the timeline, city by city, hour by hour. This is critical information, so grab a pen if you need to take notes. Friday morning, the storm begins over Oklahoma and Arkansas. Oklahoma City, you are looking at the first snowflakes starting to fall around 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. By Friday afternoon, Tulsa, Fayetteville, Little Rock, you are all in the crosshairs. Expect snow to transition to sleet and freezing rain as temperatures hover right around 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Friday evening into Friday night, the system pushes east. Memphis, Nashville, you are next. Heavy snow is likely across Tennessee, especially in the higher elevations. Nashville could see 6 to 10 inches. But here is the kicker. Just south of the snow line from Jackson, Tennessee, down through northern Mississippi and Alabama, freezing rain becomes the main threat. And I am not talking about a light glaze. I am talking about potentially a ½ inch to 1 inch of ice accumulation. Do you know what 1 inch of ice does? It snaps tree branches like toothpicks. It brings down power lines by the thousands. It turns roads into ice skating rinks. Major cities could lose power for days, maybe even a week in some areas. Saturday morning, this is when the storm reaches its peak intensity across the Carolinas and Virginia. Raleigh, Charlotte, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Richmond, you are all under the gun. The Weather Prediction Center, these are the professionals who coordinate forecasts nationally. They are already showing a 50 to 70% chance of winter storm conditions for your areas. Not just winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings. There is a massive difference. Charlotte sits right on the dividing line between snow and ice. If the storm tracks 50 miles north, you get mostly snow. If it tracks 50 miles south, you get mostly ice. Right now, models are split, but either way, you are getting a significant winter event. Current data suggests 8 to 12 inches of snow is possible north of Interstate 85, while areas along and south of Interstate 85 could see devastating ice accumulations. Asheville and the North Carolina mountains, you could be looking at 12 to 18 inches of snow. Boone, Blowing Rock, Banner Elk, this could be the biggest snow of the season for you, but travel will be impossible. Interstate 40 through the mountains will likely shut down completely. Saturday afternoon into Saturday night, the storm accelerates up the East Coast. Virginia gets hammered. Lynchburg, Charlottesville, the Shenandoah Valley expect heavy snow. 6 to 12 inches is a safe bet right now. The Interstate 95 corridor from Richmond up through Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, this is where things get interesting. If the low pressure tracks close to the coast, you get mostly rain. If it tracks inland, you could see thunder snow and blizzard conditions. Current models favor a track that would bring heavy snow to D.C., potentially 8 to 14 inches. Philadelphia and New York could see 6 to 10 inches. Boston might catch the northern fringe with 3 to 6 inches. Sunday. The storm finally exits into the Atlantic, but the cold air remains locked in place. That is crucial. Whatever falls, whether snow or ice, it is not melting anytime soon. High temperatures across the southeast struggle to get above freezing for several days. That means ice stays on the roads, snow stays piled up, and travel remains treacherous well into next week. Now let me share something most weather reports will not tell you. The secondary impacts of this storm could be more dangerous than the storm itself. Here is what I mean. Ice storms do not just create slippery roads, they destroy infrastructure. When ice builds up on power lines, the weight becomes unbearable. A single power line covered in 1 inch of ice can weigh 300 pounds more than normal. Now multiply that across hundreds of miles of power lines. Utilities cannot keep up with the outages. During the ice storm of February 2021, parts of Texas went without power for over a week. Millions of people. In winter. Without heat, tree damage creates roadblocks everywhere. You cannot drive down streets littered with massive oak branches. Emergency services get delayed. People who need medical help cannot get to hospitals. Grocery stores run out of supplies because delivery trucks cannot navigate icy roads. This cascades into a community-wide crisis very quickly. Water pipes freeze and burst when homes lose power for extended periods. That creates flooding once temperatures rise. Insurance claims skyrocket. The economic impact of a major ice storm can reach billions of dollars. But more importantly, lives are at risk. Hypothermia, carbon monoxide poisoning from improper heating sources, car accidents, people slipping and breaking bones. The list goes on. I am not trying to scare you. I am preparing you. There is a massive difference. So what should you do right now? I promised you 3 critical supplies, and here they are. Number 1, water, not just a few bottles. I am talking about 1 gallon per person per day for at least 7 days. If you lose power and your pipes freeze, you have no running water. Think about that. No water to drink, cook, or flush toilets. Get water today, not tomorrow. Today, store it somewhere it will not freeze. Number 2, non-perishable food. Canned goods, peanut butter, crackers, protein bars, anything that does not require refrigeration or cooking. If you have a gas stove, great, you can still cook. But many people have electric stoves. Those are useless without power. Plan for at least a week of food, more if you can store it. Number 3, heat source and blankets. If you have a fireplace, stock up on firewood now. If you have a generator, test it today and make sure you have fuel. If you have neither, get extra blankets, sleeping bags, and warm clothing. Dress in layers. Your body is your best heat source. Trap that heat with multiple layers. Bonus supplies that could save your life. Flashlights and batteries. Not just one flashlight, multiple. One for each room. Batteries go dead fast in cold weather. First aid kit, prescription medications. If you take daily meds, make sure you have at least a 2-week supply. Cell phone power banks fully charged. When the power goes out, your phone becomes your lifeline. Charge it now and keep those power banks ready. Here is something fascinating about this storm that separates it from others. The European ensemble models, these are 51 different versions of the same forecast, are showing remarkable agreement. When I say remarkable, I mean historic. At 5 days out, to see 80 to 90% of ensemble members agree on significant snowfall, that almost never happens. These models usually spread out like a shotgun blast, each one showing a slightly different solution. But right now, they are locked in like a rifle shot. The ensemble mean, which averages all 51 members, shows at least 1 inch of snow or sleet from Oklahoma City through Nashville, Knoxville, Asheville, the Piedmont of North Carolina, and up through southern Virginia. 1 inch might not sound like much, but remember, this is the minimum. Many ensemble members are showing much higher totals. The 4-inch snow probability is even more impressive. 50 to 60% chance across a huge swath. Nashville, Knoxville, Asheville, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, parts of the Shenandoah Valley. 6 to 12 inches is absolutely on the table for these areas. Some models even hint at isolated totals near 18 inches in the highest elevations. But again, and I cannot stress this enough, the ice is my biggest concern. The ensemble mean is showing 1 full inch of freezing rain accumulation across parts of northeast Georgia, upstate South Carolina, and southern Arkansas. 1 inch of ice is catastrophic. That is not an exaggeration. That is a power grid nightmare. That is thousands of trees down. That is communities isolated for days. Even areas showing a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of ice, we are talking about major problems. Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Savannah, parts of the North Carolina coast, you could see significant icing. That is unusual. Coastal areas do not typically see ice like this. But the cold air damming setup is so strong it could push all the way to the Atlantic. Now let me address the elephant in the room. Could this forecast bust? Could the storm track differently and spare some areas while hammering others? Absolutely. Weather forecasting is not perfect, but here is what makes this different. The ingredients are already in place. The Arctic air outbreak is locked in. That is happening regardless. The moisture from the Pacific is real. That is coming regardless. The only question is the exact track of the low pressure system. If the low tracks 100 miles north, the snow line shifts north. Suddenly, Charlotte sees mostly snow instead of ice. Richmond gets buried. D.C. sees a blockbuster snowstorm. New York gets hit hard. Boston sees significant accumulation. If the low tracks 100 miles south, the opposite happens. Charlotte sees more ice. Richmond sees a mix. D.C. gets mostly rain. New York gets a coating at best. That 50 to 100 mile difference is what we are trying to nail down over the next 2 to 3 days. And that is why I will be updating you constantly. The models will fine-tune, the forecast will sharpen, but the window for preparation is now, not when the storm is 12 hours away and shelves are empty. Let me share a personal story. Back in February 2014, the South experienced a devastating ice storm. Hundreds of thousands lost power, some for over a week. I will never forget families huddled around fireplaces, burning furniture to stay warm because they ran out of firewood. Elderly neighbors stuck in dark, freezing homes because they thought the storm would not be that bad. It was heartbreaking, and it was preventable. Do not be one of those people. Do not assume this will miss you. Do not think, oh, they always over-forecast these things. This is not a case of meteorologists crying wolf. This is a case of every major weather model screaming at us that something big is coming. Here is what the next few days look like in terms of forecast updates. Tonight and tomorrow, we watch for any shifts in the model data. Even small changes matter at this range. By Wednesday, we should have much higher confidence on exact snow and ice zones. Wednesday is when you will start seeing winter storm watches posted by the National Weather Service. Those watches mean conditions are favorable for a winter storm within 36 to 48 hours. By Thursday, watches get upgraded to warnings. Winter storm warnings mean the storm is imminent, usually within 24 hours. That is your final call to hunker down. Do not be on the roads Thursday afternoon or evening if you are in the impact zone. Friday through Sunday, the storm unfolds. This is when you stay home. Do not try to be a hero. Do not think your four-wheel drive vehicle can handle ice. It cannot. No vehicle can drive on ice. Four-wheel drive helps you go, but it does not help you stop. And stopping is what matters on ice. I want to pause here and make something very clear. I am not rooting for this storm. I do not want to see people suffer. I do not want to see power outages and dangerous travel conditions. But I also will not sugarcoat the forecast. My job is to give you the truth, the data, and the tools to make informed decisions. Some of you watching this live in the potential impact zone. Some of you might be on the northern or southern fringe. Either way, everyone from Texas to Maine should be paying attention. Even if you do not get snow or ice, you will feel the Arctic blast. Temperature departures of 20 to 30 degrees below average are expected across the entire eastern half of the United States by this weekend. That means wind chills near zero in Nashville, wind chills below zero in Virginia, wind chills in the teens along the Carolina coast. These are dangerous conditions even without precipitation. Frostbite can occur in minutes on exposed skin. Hypothermia sets in faster than people realize. Check on your neighbors, especially the elderly. Make sure they have heat, food, and water. Bring pets indoors. Animals suffer in extreme cold too. If you have livestock, ensure they have shelter and access to unfrozen water. Let us talk about the human psychology of weather events for a moment. Why do people wait until the last minute to prepare? Research shows it is a combination of normalcy bias and optimism bias. Normalcy bias means we assume things will continue as they always have. We have made it through winter before without major problems, so we will this time too. Optimism bias means we think bad things happen to other people, not us. The storm will hit somewhere else. It will weaken before it gets here. Both biases are dangerous during severe weather. The antidote is planning and preparation. When you have supplies ready, you remove the panic. You remove the last-minute scramble. You can sit back, relax, and watch the snowfall, knowing your family is safe and prepared. Think about it this way. If the storm misses you, what have you lost? You have extra water, food, and batteries. Those are things you will use eventually anyway. But if the storm hits and you are not prepared, the consequences could be severe. Risk versus reward. The math is simple. Now, let me give you some regional specifics based on the latest data. If you live in Oklahoma or northern Texas, your main threat is Friday into Friday night. Expect heavy snow transitioning to sleet and freezing rain. Totals could reach 6 to 10 inches of snow with significant ice on top. Interstate 35 and Interstate 40 will likely become impassable. Plan accordingly. If you live in Arkansas or Tennessee, Saturday is your day. Nashville could see some of the highest snow totals, potentially 10 to 14 inches. Memphis sits on the snow-ice line. You could go either way. Kentucky, you are likely looking at significant snow as well. Louisville, Lexington, expect accumulations. If you live in the Carolinas, late Saturday into Sunday is your window. The ice threat is real and significant for areas south of Interstate 40 and Interstate 85. Charlotte, you are right on the edge. Northern suburbs lean snow. Southern suburbs lean ice. Raleigh, Greensboro, you have a better shot at more snow than ice, but it is close. If you live in Virginia or the Mid-Atlantic, Sunday is your main event. Richmond could see heavy snow. The Shenandoah Valley could get buried. D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, you all have significant snow potential depending on the exact track. This could be the biggest snow of the season for some of you. If you live in the Northeast, Sunday into Monday is when the storm arrives. New York City, you could see a legitimate snowstorm. 6 to 10 inches is possible. Boston, you are on the northern fringe, but even 3 to 6 inches is nothing to sneeze at. Coastal areas could see mixing issues, but inland areas should see all snow. One more thing I want to address. Social media is already buzzing with this storm. You will see hype, you will see panic, you will see people claiming this is the storm of the century, you will see others claiming it is all overblown. The truth, as always, is somewhere in the middle. This is a significant winter storm. It has the potential to be high impact for millions of people. But it is not Armageddon. It is a winter storm. We have seen them before. We will see them again. The key is respecting the power of nature while maintaining perspective. Preparation does not mean panic. It means being ready. It means taking sensible precautions. It means looking out for your family and community. That is all I am asking you to do. As we wrap up, I want you to do something for me. Drop a comment below telling me where you are watching from. Seriously, I want to know. Tell me your city and state. That way, as I continue updating this forecast over the next few days, I can tailor information specifically to your area. This is how we build community. This is how we look out for each other. Also, if you found this information valuable, share it. Send it to your friends and family in the impact zone. The more people who prepare, the better we all do when the storm hits. Knowledge is power, especially during severe weather. Here is what I will be watching over the next 24 hours. Any northward or southward trends in the models. Even small shifts matter. The strength of the Arctic high pressure. The stronger it is, the more likely we see significant icing in the south. The exact timing of the system. Does it speed up or slow down? That changes everything. I will have another update for you tomorrow breaking down the latest model runs. We will dive even deeper into city-by-city forecasts. We will look at snowfall maps, ice accumulation maps, and temperature trends. And I promise you, by Wednesday, you will know with much higher certainty exactly what to expect for your area. Until then, start preparing. Get those supplies. Charge your devices. Fill your gas tank. Make a plan with your family. Know where you will go if you lose power. Know how you will stay warm. Know what you will eat. These simple steps could be the difference between weathering the storm comfortably or struggling through it. Remember, this storm is not about fear. It is about respect. Respect for the power of winter weather. Respect for the forecasting process. Respect for your own safety and the safety of those around you. Mother Nature does not care about our plans or schedules. She does what she does. Our job is to adapt and prepare. Let me dive deeper into what makes this setup so unusual from a meteorological perspective. We are seeing what is called a Rex block pattern developing. This is when high pressure parks itself up north while low pressure sets up to the south. The two systems interact to create a blocking pattern that slows everything down. When winter storms slow down, they dump more precipitation. More time over an area equals more accumulation. That is Weather 101. But there is more to this story. The polar vortex, that massive area of cold air that normally stays locked over the Arctic, is splitting. Part of it is diving south into North America. This happens maybe once or twice per winter, if at all. When it does happen, we get historic cold outbreaks. We are talking about the kind of cold that makes national news, the kind of cold that stresses power grids to their limits. Combine that splitting polar vortex with an active southern jet stream, and you have the ingredients for a textbook winter storm. The meteorology textbooks literally describe this exact setup as ideal for major winter weather. So when I tell you this is a classic pattern, I mean it in the most literal sense possible. Now let me address some specific questions I know people are asking. What about schools? Should districts be preparing for closures? The answer is yes. School systems from Texas to Virginia should be monitoring this closely. If current trends hold, we could see widespread school closures Friday through Monday. That is 4 full school days potentially impacted. Parents need to start thinking about childcare arrangements now, not Thursday night. What about flights? Air travel will be severely disrupted. Major hubs like Dallas-Fort Worth, Nashville, Charlotte, Raleigh, Durham, Richmond, D.C. all could see significant delays or cancellations. If you have travel plans this weekend, seriously consider changing them. Airlines typically waive change fees for winter storms. Call now and adjust your plans. Trying to travel through this will only lead to frustration and potentially dangerous situations stuck in airports or on highways. What about deliveries? Amazon, FedEx, UPS, USPS, all will be impacted. If you are expecting important packages, track them closely. Deliveries will be delayed. Do not count on anything arriving on time Friday through Monday. If you need medication or critical supplies delivered, contact your pharmacy or supplier now to arrange early delivery. What about work? Remote workers, you are golden. But if your job requires you to physically show up, talk to your employer now about contingency plans. Many businesses will close. Essential workers in healthcare, utilities, and emergency services, you need to prepare to potentially shelter at your workplace if roads become impassable. Pack bags with extra clothes, toiletries, and food. Hospitals often have cots for staff who cannot get home during storms. Let me paint you a picture of what Saturday could look like across the Carolinas. Imagine waking up Saturday morning. You look outside and everything is coated in ice. Tree branches bowed down under the weight, power lines sagging. Your power flickers once, twice, then goes out completely. Your house starts cooling down. If it is 20 degrees outside and your heat is electric, your indoor temperature will drop fast. Within a few hours, it could be 50 degrees inside. Within 12 hours, it could be 40 degrees or colder. Now imagine trying to drive. You back out of your driveway and immediately start sliding. Your car has zero traction. You tap the brakes and nothing happens. You slide into the curb. Now you are stuck. You try calling for help, but cell towers are overloaded. Everyone is calling at once. You finally get through to a tow truck company and they tell you wait times are 8 to 12 hours. They have hundreds of calls ahead of you. That is the reality of a major ice storm. It is not fun. It is not an adventure. It is dangerous and miserable. And it is completely avoidable if you just stay home and prepare. Here is another scenario. Let us say you live in the mountains of North Carolina or Virginia. You wake up Saturday morning to 18 inches of fresh snow. Beautiful, right? Sure, until you realize your driveway is buried, your car is buried. The road in front of your house has not been plowed. Even if you have a four-wheel drive truck, you are not going anywhere. Snowplows cannot keep up when snow falls at 2 to 3 inches per hour. They focus on main roads first. Side streets and neighborhoods get plowed last, sometimes not until days after the storm. So you are snowed in. Do you have enough food? Do you have enough firewood? Do you have a way to cook if the power goes out? These are the questions you should be asking yourself right now. Let us talk about specific cities in more detail. Oklahoma City, you are first in line. Friday morning starts your event. Temperature at daybreak will be around 28 degrees. Snow begins between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. By noon, you could have 2 to 3 inches on the ground. By evening rush hour, 6 inches is possible. Then the transition begins. As warmer air tries to push north aloft, snow changes to sleet, then freezing rain. Friday night into Saturday morning, that is when the ice accumulates. A quarter inch to half inch is likely. Some areas could see more. Tulsa, very similar timeline. You might start a bit earlier, maybe 7 a.m. for first flakes. Your snow to ice transition happens around the same time as Oklahoma City. You are looking at similar totals. The I-44 corridor from Tulsa to Oklahoma City will be a disaster Friday evening. Do not travel. Little Rock, you get into the action Friday afternoon. Your event might be more ice-focused from the start. The warm nose of air aloft sets up right over you. That means freezing rain could dominate your precipitation type. This is bad news for you. Ice accumulations of ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch are possible. That is power outage territory. That is tree damage territory. Prepare accordingly. Memphis, you are in a tricky spot. You sit right on the dividing line between significant snow to your north and significant ice to your south. Current data suggests you see a mix, maybe 4 to 6 inches of snow followed by freezing rain. The combination could be particularly problematic. Snow on the ground with ice on top is incredibly difficult to navigate. Nashville, you are looking at a legitimate snowstorm. Friday night into Saturday, heavy snow overspreads your area. Rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour are possible during the peak hours, likely Saturday morning. By Saturday afternoon, you could have 10 to 14 inches on the ground. Interstate 65, Interstate 40, Interstate 24, all will be in terrible shape. The city will effectively shut down. Widespread power outages are possible even with all snow due to the weight of heavy, wet snow on trees and power lines. Knoxville, similar story to Nashville, but potentially higher totals. You are closer to the mountains where upslope snow enhancement occurs. 12 to 16 inches is not out of the question. The valley could see 10 to 12. Higher elevations, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, you could approach 20 inches. Asheville, you are in the bullseye for heavy snow. Saturday is your day. All day Saturday, heavy snow. 2 to 3 inches per hour at times. By Sunday morning, you could have 15 to 20 inches. Asheville Airport will close. Interstate 40 and Interstate 26 will be impassable. Do not plan on going anywhere. Stock up now. Charlotte, you are the big question mark. If the low-pressure tracks just 50 miles south of current projections, you see mostly ice. Potentially a ½ inch to 1 inch of ice accumulation. That would be catastrophic for your city. Power outages would be widespread and long-lasting. If the low tracks 50 miles north, you see mostly snow. 8 to 12 inches is possible in that scenario. Either way, you are getting a major winter event. My gut says you lean more ice than snow, but confidence is not high enough to make that call definitively yet. Raleigh, you have a better shot at snow than Charlotte does. You are further north and east. Current thinking is 6 to 10 inches of snow with less ice. But again, small shifts in the track change everything. The triangle will see significant impacts regardless. Greensboro and Winston-Salem, you are in a similar boat to Raleigh. Snow is more likely than ice for you, but ice cannot be ruled out. Current data suggests 8 to 12 inches of snow. The triad will be heavily impacted Saturday into Sunday. Richmond, you could see a big snowstorm. Sunday is your day. If current trends hold, 10 to 14 inches is possible. Interstate 95 and Interstate 64 will be a mess. Plan accordingly. Washington, D.C., you love snow. You might get your wish. Current models favor 8 to 14 inches for the metro area. This would start late Saturday night and continue through Sunday. Reagan National, Dulles, BWI, all could see significant delays or closures. Baltimore, similar to D.C., you are looking at significant snow potential. 8 to 12 inches is a reasonable estimate right now. The Inner Harbor could see its biggest snow of the season. Philadelphia, you are on the northern edge. 6 to 10 inches seems reasonable right now, but you are prone to mixing issues with coastal storms. If this tracks close to the coast, you could see rain mixing in, cutting totals. If it tracks inland, you get all snow and higher amounts. New York City, you could see your first real snow of the season. 6 to 10 inches for the 5 boroughs is possible. Long Island might see less due to coastal influences. Upstate could see more. Boston, you are on the fringe. 3 to 6 inches seems most likely right now. You might dodge the worst of this one. But even 3 to 6 is enough to cause problems. The bottom line is this: we have a major winter storm system developing with extremely high model confidence at an unusually long lead time. That is rare. That is significant. That means you have time right now to prepare properly. Use that time wisely. From Oklahoma to New York, millions of Americans will be impacted by this system. Some will see record snow. Some will see crippling ice. Some will see both. The exact details are still being worked out, but the overall threat is crystal clear. Stay tuned for tomorrow's update. Stay safe. And do not forget to drop that comment telling me where you are watching from so I can give you the most accurate information for your specific location.